Welcome to the Mixing Babies and Business podcast. I'm your host, Amy Lynch. I'm covering all things parenthood, business, flexible, and remote work with kids. Think of it as your virtual village where you can tune into stories from other business and community leaders who also happen to be parents negotiating for their needs, taking up space, and navigating the future of work. Season 6 is sponsored by the Mixing Babies and Business Changemaker program for people who want to do things differently, create an impact, and advocate for primary caregivers and their families along the way. Sign up to learn more at mixingbabiesandbusiness.com/changemaker. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, like, follow, and leave a review online. It helps other parents find the podcast. Rita Piçarra is a parent, author, speaker, and former chief financial officer at Microsoft Portugal. With over 20 years of experience in finance and leadership roles spanning the United States, Brazil, France, Spain, and Portugal, Rita spoke with me about everything from innovating in leadership, investing in yourself, and the importance of financial literacy. This is the second of 3 mini episodes of our conversation. Let's get into it. I've talked about time blocking and boundaries as being some of the keys to being able to do either flexible work or work around kids, especially if, kids aren't always healthy. They might be at home. You might not have enough sick days or holidays, or if you're self-employed, you have deliverables or deadlines, but a lot of it comes down to communicating your needs. And to do that, you have to kind of go back and, like you've mentioned, define your priorities, look at your values, and then share those with either your clients or your colleagues. You've mentioned like a personal story that you advocated for yourself, but I've also read about you advocating for others and for inclusion at Microsoft. When people come up with a great idea, they would say, well, go speak to the Portugal office because they've probably tried it already or done it. To have that word of mouth spoken about you when you're not there, your reputation, but also the fact that you've been mentored in the past and then you pass that on to others, that you would tap others to lead something and then mentor them if they needed leadership development. Can you talk a bit about how you've gone about advocating for mentorship yourself for your career development plan, but also passed it on, paid it forward to others within the company that you could see potential for them to step into leadership as well?
I guess you summed it up very well, which is when I was early in my career, I still need, we all need mentors in our lives to help us to develop, to point us in the right direction. Sometimes it's just like a sounding board, right? Sometimes we just need someone on the other side to help us make sure that what we're saying makes sense. And so I always had mentors in my life, in my career, to progress, to advance, to make sure that I was going towards the right direction. And so as I became more senior in the organization, because to be a mentor and to be a leader, you don't need to be a boss. You don't need to have a reporting line. You just need to be someone who, most of the times, you live the values of the company, you understand the company's goals and orientation, and you are passionate about people, and you want to see people grow, and you want to see people achieve their dreams and their goals and see them happy and progressing. And so for me, I guess I always needed mentors. So whenever I saw someone that was full of potential and just needed a little bit of help, I always tried my best to, and I still do. That's why my agenda is still crazy after retirement. I always tried my best to help people. And it was the case at Microsoft when I first came back to Portugal after being 12 years abroad. There were a lot of things that just weren't quite there. I guess the Portuguese subsidiary had grown from 200 employees to 1,700. And cultural wise, it was a little bit unstable because when you hire so many people so fast, you really need to kind of bring everyone together and make sure that everyone is aware of what is the culture of the company, and things like diversity and inclusion, making sure that people can bring their authentic self to work and not be afraid of showing who they truly are. It's something that I've always been passionate about, and I always try to be an advocate. When myself and Sergio, who was a colleague of mine in finance, we started the GLEAM chapter, the LGBTQIA plus chapter in Portugal. It was almost us against the world. It was 5 of us, first me and Sergio, and then 3 more people, trying to make sure that the subsidiary becomes the most inclusive place to work that you can imagine in Portugal. We were the first ones to go and join the Pride Parade as a company in Portugal, which was something that I had never seen before. For me, I think it's just a way of living. We always need to help others, right? Who wouldn't want to help others? It will make us feel better. It gives us a lot of energy, and the amount of joy from seeing other people evolve and progress and achieve something. It's sometimes it's even better than if we do it ourselves.
Yeah. So you've mentioned like feeling like it's us against the world. I've been bringing my kids into business settings since becoming a parent in 2016. And I luckily was part of a program that was designed for parents at Google for Startups. So I wasn't the only one. But then once that program ended, I was the only one going to these startup conferences. A lot of them were held in spaces like one was at a microbrewery that had all these stairs. So I knew I couldn't bring a stroller in. There are no change tables. I was the only one with a baby, but they wanted more women founders to attend. So you've mentioned the LGBTQ plus chapter that you established. Do you have any views on corporations or organizations making things more inclusive for parents and their families as well, either through their spaces or the programming or experiences that they're cultivating?
I think spaces are always relevant, of course, when it comes to diversity and inclusive. But I think the main word when we think about parenting and companies, it's about flexibility. It's not one size fits all, right? As you said, you may have a sick kid and therefore you may need to be at home. But at the same time, you may be the parent that it's not on maternity leave or not on paternity leave and really needs to focus. And maybe you live in a small apartment and with the baby crying and baby being very small, maybe it's a place where you can't be really focusing on that particular time. So you do want to go to the office. So for me, it's about flexibilities, making sure that we allow people to choose what makes more sense in that particular time and space for them. It's not you stay home because you're a new mom. Some moms would like that and some others would not like that. Some others would like to still put the kid in kindergarten or daycare and have a space in the office to extract the milk and to make sure that you conserve the milk while you're not breastfeeding, but you have it when you go back to the baby. So it's about flexibilities to make sure that we have the options and we give the options to everyone to feel the more comfortable that they can with the circumstances that they're currently in, and also to have a little bit of empathy in their lives, because we don't know what is going on other people's lives unless if we ask. And sometimes we assume that everything is okay, that whatever we're providing is enough, and we really don't take a chance, and we don't ask people if what we are providing is enough, if what we as benefits the company is providing is sufficient for the person to feel included, for the person to feel welcome, for the person to feel like they can thrive.
Yeah, and like you've mentioned, be curious. And sometimes it's as simple as just asking, because that is how you're going to get the answer, the feedback of what you could do to improve the situation.
Yeah, I did do this training at Microsoft. I'm sorry, I don't recall the name of the training, but it was exactly that. The topic was stay curious a little bit longer. You know how we ask people, "Hey, how are you doing?" We don't really expect an answer that it's not, "Yeah, great," or "mute and you." Right? We don't really answer the question. And if we do, people on the other side, most of the times are not prepared to hear something that is not, "Yeah, great." Right? So how do we stay curious just a little bit longer? And how do we keep on making sure that we understand what's going on with our peers, with our colleagues, with our teammates?
Yeah, asking the follow-up of, has it always been done this way?
Oh my God.
Why? That's how most of the activism I've done has been. It's like not me being angry, trying to bust down a door saying there needs to be a baby change table here. It's been how many people drop out of your PhD program or your master's, your MBA after they have kids, or if they feel like they can't bring them to the lecture theater because you just told me the nearest change table is 20 minutes across campus and it goes to -20 and -30 in Ottawa in winter. So how many people are opting out or not even choosing to apply at that stage of their life. And that wasn't really able to be answered, but it's a curious question based on, well, have you looked at what's happening and why would that be? And there's usually, you keep digging, there's a cause.
It's true. Did you say -30? Is it Fahrenheit or Celsius?
Celsius, it's Celsius. That's why I'm like, oh, maybe I should come learn how to surf in Portugal because
Yes.
I don't know how to surf. But yeah, there's definitely, I spoke to Gonzalo a couple of weeks ago for the podcast, and he's relocating from Portugal to Brazil. But he said we maybe should experience the digital nomad life with our family in Portugal.
If you can, I do recommend it.
Yeah, I'm adding it to my career development plan right now, Rita. So most of my listeners are parents of young kids. Some are preschool age, school age kids. And I'm trying to give them a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, but also an opportunity to learn about or talk about things that you might not be hearing at the baby stay and play or the parents drop in. So one of them, based on your background, and there's this movement called the FIRE movement, the Financial Independence Retire Early movement, which I'm assuming that you know about because of the way that you've approached your life. But if anyone's interested in learning more about that, improving their own financial literacy in order to be able to retire earlier, to have more time and location freedom, what advice would you give to them at this stage of their life where they might not have a lot of time to seek out the answers or might not feel like going to sit at a bank with their kids because, again, there's not a lot of toys at a bank and it can be a bit confronting? Do you have any advice?
Yeah, no, do not sit with the bank, with the lady or the gentleman of the bank because they're a salesperson. Okay, they do have a quota and they will try to sell you whatever investments they have in their portfolio because they do have a commission on it. So you can try to go there and listen to what they're saying, but remember they're a salesperson, so they will have a sales pitch and it may not be the appropriate investment for you. The biggest investment that you can do is in yourself. I know as parents of young kids, time is the thing that probably is lacking the most together with sleep time. But I can tell you one thing. For investments and to retire early, what you need to do is 3 simple steps. First, save money. Well, first, earn money. Sorry, earn money. Second one, save money. And the third one is to invest. So you have three main steps: earn money, save money, and invest on a diversified way. So earning money, it's about having this ambition that we talked about, progressing in your career, advancing, and trying to earn some money. Okay. Second step is to save. And this is a super important step because I've been doing a lot of talks. I've spoken to 6,000 people and I ask people to close their eyes and raise their arms if they know how much they spent in food the last month. And only 10 to 15 people raise their hands. And this is crazy, right? Because you work, I don't know how many hours in the US, Canada, but in Portugal, you work 40 hours plus during a week, and you don't spend one single hour understanding where that money is going to. So the first important lesson is understand where your money is going to, where you're spending your money, and understand what is the percentage of saving that you are at the moment being able to achieve. Is it 20%? According to the research, 20% is the minimum savings that you should do per month. If you're not able to do the 20%, then go back and analyze your expenses. Where can you cut? Is it renegotiating your house loan? Is it renegotiating any of the contracts that you may have as, the telecoms, the water, the electricity, and so forth? So how can you be able to improve your savings? And then the third one is about investing. When you think about investing, please don't you ever make an investment just because someone told you that it was good. When you do an investment, it's your money. It took a lot of hard work to earn. So you need to understand the 3 most important things on investing. It's like a triangle with 3 spikes. First one, it's about liquidity. I think that's how you say it in English. How fast is the money going to be available? If it's in a bank account, well, you go to the bank, you withdraw the money, it's there, you're able to spend it in whatever you need it. But if it's invested in a house, it will take you at least 2 months to have the money available. So it's very low on how fast can you have that money available for you. The second part part of the triangle has to do with the profitability, right? How much can you take out of that investment? And usually it's a percentage of how much you got over the amount that you invested. Of course, this bit of the triangle is very related with the risk. The risk, when we talk about the risk of the investments, it's not the risk of the profitability being a lot or being very little. The risk is that you actually lose all the money that you have invested. For this, the middle point of all these three spikes of the triangle is called your investor profile. It's how prone you are to the risk or not, how much you need that availability of the cash in hand or not. You should have investments that are high in all of these. You should have investments that are high in liquidity, in the sense that if you have an emergency, you can actually use that money very fast. It should be at least 6 months of spending the amount that you have there. So imagine monthly expenses are, I don't know, $3,000. You should have 6 months, 6 times 3, 18 months of monthly expenses in a place that has a high level of liquidity that you can actually use very fast if something bad happens. Then the other investments that you can do have to have a good rationale between risk and the profitability and the amount that you're getting out of it. For instance, when you think about cryptos, cryptocurrencies, it's Bitcoin and so forth. It has a high risk. It also may have a high return on them, but it has a high risk. So there's a high probability that you lose your money. And so there's other investments that you can do that have a lower risk, like investing in the SP 500, which is, the 500, the stock market indices that mimic the 500 biggest companies in the US. You need to understand that you need to diversify your portfolio and understand how comfortable are you with the risk that you have your investments. And the easiest way to see it is if you put your head in your pillow at night. Are you comfortable? Do you sleep knowing that you have your money invested on the way that it is or not? So you need to learn. This is the main, there's no secret sauce. There's not a golden point that I can give you. You really need to learn where your money is going. Just make sure that you understand these three big variables of investments to make sure that you are comfortable with whatever thing you are investing in. And one last advice is, remember, it is your money. If you go to the bank and you're going to sign a paper saying that you're investing in X thing and you don't understand it, don't do it until you completely feel comfortable of your understanding about the risk, the return, how fast do you have the money if you need it. Ask all the questions that, if you sound like a 5-year-old, it's fine. It's your money and it takes a lot of time to get. So make sure that you ask all your questions and make sure that you're comfortable with all the investments that you're doing.
Big thanks to Rita for taking part of her day to speak with me about her experience as a parent, working in different countries, and the importance of investing in herself. Stay tuned for our third and final episode, where we'll talk about what she wished someone would have told her before she became a parent and a leader. Check out her work and follow her on LinkedIn at Rita Piçarra. That's RitaPicarra. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, or follow and leave a review. It helps other parents around the world find the podcast. Connect with me online and access your parent-friendly professional development, entrepreneurship, flexible, and remote work resources at mixingbabiesandbusiness.com. Thanks for listening.